Hello everyone, myself Vinay Kumaram. I'm actually pursuing PhD in physics. So in this particular YouTube channel, I'll be teaching physics, chemistry and mathematics starting from 8th standard till 12th standard. So if you want to learn physics, chemistry and mathematics, then please do subscribe to my channel and stay tuned with my channel. So the name of this particular chapter is Structure of Atom. So what do you mean by structure of atom? How the subatomic particles inside an atom are arranged. So to understand that, there were various theories, there was various models and experimental observations which actually gave us an idea about structure of an atom. So the first model which came up was Thomson's model of an atom. So according to Dalton's atomic theory, we actually learned that atoms are indivisible. But after discovering subatomic particles like electrons and protons, it led to the failure of Dalton's atomic theory to explain about atoms. There were various atomic models developed, and the first model was developed by J.J. Thomson, and this particular model is known as Thomson's model of an atom. So Thomson, to explain the structure of atom, he came up with a model called plum pudding model. So the model is commonly known as plum pudding model, where pudding is a kind of cake which is actually made during Christmas times. So we as Indians, we are less exposed to these kind of cakes. So that's why we can imagine a watermelon to understand this particular model. So when you actually cut a particular watermelon, and if you observe one piece of cut watermelon, and this particular watermelon is cut from the middle, and if you turn that watermelon and see from the sideways, so you will see that this particular watermelon will have red color matter present in it, and along with this red color matter, there will be small tiny seeds, black color seeds. So by looking at this, you can imagine this particular red color matter as a positive sphere. So you can imagine this red matter or the entire watermelon which you are seeing as a positive sphere, and inside that particular positive sphere, there are electrons which are balancing out the positive charge which is there inside that particular positive sphere. So electrons have negative charge and this particular positive sphere has positive charge, and hence the net charge of atom is balanced out. But here he didn't explain that how these electrons are arranged inside an atom. So in this particular model, electrons are randomly distributed throughout the atom. If this particular atom is assumed as a positive sphere, then electrons inside that positive sphere are randomly distributed throughout that particular atom. Just like watermelon, just like black seeds which are present in watermelon are actually distributed throughout that particular watermelon, similarly electrons in an atom are distributed throughout that particular atom. This was the model proposed by J.J. Thomson, and he took the example of pudding. Even in pudding, there will be dry fruits present in this particular cake, and that particular cake is considered as the positive sphere, and the dry fruits which are present throughout that particular cake, which are randomly distributed throughout that cake, are assumed as electrons. So if you take example of watermelon, here also black seeds which are present throughout that watermelon can be assumed as electrons. So this is the model which was given by J.J. Thomson to explain the structure of an atom. So based on this model, there are two conclusions which were given. So the first conclusion is atom consists of a positive sphere, and in this positive sphere, electrons are embedded. So inside this particular positive sphere, electrons are embedded. So this is one conclusion which you can take from this particular theory. And the second conclusion which you can take from this theory is that the positive charge of the sphere and the negative charge of electrons are equal in magnitude, hence the net charge of atom will be 0, or the net charge of an atom is neutral, because the negative charge of electrons and the positive charge of the sphere cancels out each other because they are equal and opposite in magnitude, hence net charge of an atom will be neutral. So if you consider whole atom electrically neutral. So this is one of the conclusion which was given in the Thomson's model. So these two conclusions you can actually remember from this particular J.J. Thomson's atomic model. So the next atomic model which was proposed after Thomson's atomic model was Rutherford's atomic model. So there was a scientist named Ernest Rutherford who actually conducted an experiment using alpha particles and gold foil. This experiment was set up in such a way that to understand how the structure of atom might be. So here he took gold foil because in gold foil you can get as thin sheet of gold foil as you can. So here there was a thin gold foil placed. So the thickness of this particular gold foil contained only 1000 atoms. So if you consider thickness of this particular gold foil, so from this particular point to this particular point, if you consider that particular thickness, only 1000 atoms will be lying. So that much small thin gold foil was taken in this particular experiment, and alpha particles which are positively charged. So alpha particles are basically helium atoms which are actually positively charged. So this particular alpha particles were made to pass through this particular gold foil, and he actually assumed that based on J.J. Thomson's model, positive sphere is there inside an atom in which electrons are embedded. That means complete atom is a positive sphere inside which negatively charged electrons are embedded. So now if you actually put a positively charged alpha particles, so here alpha particles are positively charged. So if alpha particles are positively charged, and this positively charged particles, when it hits the gold foil, at that particular time atoms which are there in that particular gold foil should completely repel this particular alpha particles, because inside atoms there is a positive sphere inside which electrons are embedded. So if atoms are positive sphere in which electrons are embedded, then only few alpha particles should pass through this particular gold foil, but most of the alpha particles should repel back. So this was the assumption made before the experiment. But after doing experiment, to his surprise, he observed that so most of the alpha particles which were struck to this particular gold foil passed through this particular gold foil, and very little amount of alpha particles had a slight deflection, and 1 in 12,000. So 1 alpha particle in 12,000 alpha particles bounced back. Most number of alpha particles passed through the gold foil. How is this possible? Because alpha particles are positively charged and atoms are made of positive spheres which should repel these alpha particles and should not allow alpha particles to pass through. But according to his observation, here atoms which are present are actually allowing these particular alpha particles to pass through, and little number of alpha particles are actually getting deflected, and very rare alpha particle is actually getting bounced back from the gold foil. If most of the alpha particles are passing through this gold foil, so he gave first conclusion that lot of empty space is there inside an atom. Because of this lot of empty space which is present in an atom, these atoms which are present in gold foil are allowing this particular alpha particle to pass through that particular gold foil. Now, the second conclusion which he gave for the second observation which he made, very little alpha particles had a slight deviation. So there he came to a conclusion that positively charged particles are there inside this particular atom, and these positively charged particles are confined in a small space inside an atom. So here one of the conclusion given by J.J. Thomson model is getting failed. What J.J. Thomson told was that entire atom is made up of a positive sphere, and inside that positive sphere electrons are arranged. But now, because of this particular experiment, Rutherford came to a conclusion that so positive charge of an atom is confined to a very small space inside an atom. Hence, there is lot of space, empty space present in an atom. So that shows in entire atom there is no positive charge. only in a small confined place inside an atom there is positive charge. So around this particular positive charge, electrons are revolving. There was one more observation which was done, that is 1 in 12,000 alpha particle actually bounced back. So based on this observation, he gave conclusion that whenever alpha particle have head-on collision, so when alpha particle have head-on collision with this particular positive charge which is confined to a very little space inside an atom, so whenever there is head-on collision of alpha particle and this positively charged particles which are there inside atom, at that particular time this alpha particle will be bounced back. And whenever the alpha particles passes very close by to this particular positively charged particle inside an atom, so these alpha particles will have a slight deflection because positive charges will get repelled with each other. So when there is no close encounter of positive charge with the alpha particle will move undisturbed and pass through the gold foil. So that is why most of the alpha particles just pass through the gold foil, because there is lot of empty space present in the atom. So these were the conclusions which were given for this theory based on the observations which were made by this particular gold foil experiment. So based on this conclusion, Rutherford atomic theory was built. So there is a positively charged center in an atom, and this particular positively charged center which is present in an atom was named as nucleus. So this particular nucleus contains this particular positively charged particles. Coming to the second point of this particular theory, electrons which are present in this particular atoms are revolving around this positively charged center which is nucleus. So positively charged nucleus. So around this positively charged nucleus, electrons will be revolving in a circular orbit. So one more word we should remember, that is circular orbit. That means if there is an atom like this, so let's assume if this is an atom, then there is a positive charged center which is there inside this particular atom, and this particular positively charged center of an atom is known as nucleus, and around this particular nucleus electrons will be revolving in a circular orbit. So this was actually the conclusions which you can take from this particular Rutherford's experiment. And one more important thing which you should remember is that there is lot of empty space present in an atom. So that's why if you compare the size of nucleus and if you compare the size of an atom, so nucleus has comparatively smaller size than atom, because nucleus is there inside an atom at the center of the atom which is positively charged, and this particular nucleus is smaller in size compared to atomic size, and this particular nucleus is in the center of the atom where electrons will be revolving in a circular orbit around this particular nucleus. This is actually Rutherford's atomic model which explains structure of an atom. So now you have learnt about J.J. Thomson's atomic model and Rutherford's atomic model. After J.J. Thomson's atomic model and Rutherford's atomic model, you have next atomic models which are coming up. So the next atomic models which are there in this particular chapter and the further concepts which are there in this particular chapter will be discussed in next subsequent videos. So if you want to learn more physics, chemistry and mathematics like this starting from 8th standard till 12th standard, then you have to subscribe to my channel. Please do subscribe to my channel and stay tuned with my channel. Thank you.